Hello my friend, Aloha, I'm a Baha'i, I'm the elder of Baha'u'llah. And I'm continuing to take on Mr. Bill Gates. He's really the only legitimate leader, ethical leader right now among a lot of people, especially future and the youth at the present time. Unlike these pseudo leaders in the religion and ecclesiastic department, he's for real. This talk is not addressed to in particularly criticize him. I actually do not believe in criticism. It's not going to solve anything. We just have to see what has been done by anyone and try to continue the effort, the good part of it, of course, and to evolve towards betterment. There's no point. But I'm bringing his name because there are a lot of people like him, as I said. They're doing good things on the planet. There's no doubt about it. There's no repudiations about that. But is it possible that these so-called good doings, the good deed, indisputable deed that we do, actually be harmful to us and to people? And then we have to define what's really good. I'm going to quote his own word in the computer that I extracted today. He says, Bill Gates, quote, "The first promise of any good politician is to make people's life better. And scientific research leading to innovation is one of the best ways to honor that promise. Until about 1700, there was basically no development. Almost everybody was poor. Many were sick. 1 of every 4 children died. Average life expectancy was about 40 years. Until 99% of the people were illiterate. But then science came along and was started inventing. And we started inventing electricity, the steam engine, antibiotics, sanitation, vaccines, microprocessor, genetic medicines. Science is the great giver. And we're just at the beginning of what it can give." This is what he says. And as by the way, this flower here is my wife likes to have the flower here. As it was in the last discussion, I had a consultation with the future elder of God that I can't give his name right now. I'm saving him from possible attacks. And he said something that it brought this idea that many people in the planet, they say Bill Gates is a symbol of everything that the religion has said in the past. Be good, do good. If we have him, and we know, what do we need Baha'i Faith and Baha'u'llah? Especially repudiating this, objecting at this word of Baha'u'llah. I have to read this word for you from the most holy book in the Baha'i Faith. It's called Kitab. That's the very first verse. So then we can see where these guys are going. So in the first verse of Kitab, this is what Baha'u'llah says. The first duty prescribed by God for his servants is the recognition of him who is the day spring of his revelation and the fountain of his laws, meaning the prophets, who represented the Godhead in both the kingdom of his cause, next life, and the world of creation, this life. Whoso achieved this duty has attained unto all good, and whoso is deprived thereof hath gone astray. though he be the author of every righteous deed. It behoveth every one who reacheth this most sublime station, this summit of transcendent glory, to observe every ordinance of him who is the desire of the world. These twin duties are inseparable, neither is acceptable without the other. Thus hath been decreed by him who is the source of the divine inspirations. Well, Baha'u'llah says there's two things. It's prescribed, like a doctor, I'm giving a prescription, everybody. That, first of all, you have to believe in me, he says. I am the source. Secondly, you have to follow what I tell you. And if you don't understand me, and you do not recognize I am the manifestation of God on the planet Earth right now, doesn't matter what good you do, whatever you do, is not acceptable. Mind, this is very important. He says he represents God in this life and the life to come. And he says, I will not accept it, neither here if I see it, or when you guys die and come to me, that will not be acceptable. I have to say the word by him acceptable, it simply means it's not working. That's what it's trying to say. So many people say that, well, this is a very arrogant statement. Who's Baha'u'llah to say that? I've heard this before. So you're saying that Bill Gates and people like him, that they actually give medicine and fix a broken leg. The guy's cancer goes away. These things are not real? Is this not a good thing that he does? Doesn't matter if Baha'u'llah accepts it or not. This man's leg is fixed now. He doesn't have sickness. His village has water. There are schools. He's getting educated. Bill Gates or anybody who does this kind of work, they do not need approval of Baha'u'llah. And who's somebody like that who comes and says it's a dictatorial statement, basically. And so, therefore, I'm his elder. What is the real answer? Not sophistications of philosophy and putting things together in a unreal way. Like, let us be practical. Why should we follow him? To begin with, if I want to answer this, I have to tell you, if we're dealing with human being, well, we have to deal with his needs. I have gathered, I think you agree with me, that the human needs are what he needs to survive, what he needs to continue, what he needs to evolve, what he needs to sustain life in the planet. And there are three types, three dimensions to it. The first is our body, where we need things for our body, whether it's medicine or it's a house, or enhancing it with a car. We need medicine, we need food, we need to look better, we need to look healthy. So that's the material dimensions. That's what Bill Gates is working on. The second need that we have is our relationship with others. I call it social relationship, and I've explained that before in my videos, about 7 of them. Your relationship with your wife. That's a need. You have to know what to do the best. With your children, with your mother, father, with your family. How to behave, how to conduct yourself, that you create that harmony, that you create a unity that's fruitful for everyone. Then is your relationship with your friends outside of your family. Then is your relationship with people in the city, in your country, and your planet. This is the social part of our needs. Where you need all these laws and constitutions and whatnot. For part, we can say Bill Gates also helping that when he builds his schools or things like this. But then there is the third part. People largely deny it. They have not come to understand it yet. I'm so surprised, you know. It is the same way that they think that we're just matter and everything is brain and there's no soul. And I explained that last time that even a laptop needs Bill Gates' Windows to operate. How could my brain work without an independent phenomenon besides my brain to be installed on it, the software that makes my brain to operate? Okay? They deny it. They say, no, that doesn't exist. This is the spiritual part, the dimension of the spiritual part, where we as a human being have questions. We want to know, where are we coming from? Where are we going to? Who's God? What's His creation? What do I do to become happy? How do I get rid of sadness? How do I deal with this huge loss of my family suddenly in an accident? How do I make others happy? These are the spiritual part that we want to know answers. This is what Bill Gates and basically everybody else in this planet, they ignore it. There are some they talk about it in the Muslim community, in the Christian community, in the religious community, but they're not saying anything fruitful or regurgitations of the past, civilizations, Romans and Muslims and Arabia and whatnot. That's not applicable to our time. So, if I accept Bill Gates that science is the giver and we have to go on towards the science, and I look at myself, and I look from 1844 when the Baha'i Faith starts, the graph shows that mankind has progressed maybe 100 times more ever since 10,000 years till 1844. We have developed everything. The King of England 50 years could not go to operate a heart transplant. He could not get a bypass surgery 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Any poor man right now has devices and gadgets that no conquerors had in the world. So we've got so much more in terms of material advantages. Even in the realm of the social, a Chinese have more right now till 50 years ago in his own country. Women couldn't vote, now they're voting in the United States. There are many still things that have to be done in the social arena, but even in the socially, we have progressed a lot. The Constitution of the United States of America is the biggest hallmark of achievement in the social advancement of humanity to bring practical, democracy in the world, freedom. But then, why 3 or 5 Canadians are suffering from psychosis? Well, all these rich people, well, all the social advancement, they're suffering from depression. When I go to India, I was in, as a matter of fact, in Lebanon, in Jordan, and in Egypt. People are vibrant and happy, and they have nothing. But they have an incentive. That's their spiritual advantage. He wants to have things we don't have. He wants to have things that we have, Freedom. I can walk with my girlfriend in the streets, this Egyptian says. I can't do it there. I want freedom to speak, to talk. I can't. We tried to bring democracy and we all failed. Just we couldn't do it. He says, I found out. In India, all these Indians, they have nothing, but they have incentive. I want to get something. In the West, we got it. When I was in Iran, I was looking at the West. I said, that's where I want to go. There's no night there now. Well, I'm here. It's a mirage. It's nothing. There is everything. Money-wise, I'm very well off. Socially the same way. But this is what I tell you today. If you get everything you want money-wise, if you get all the power that you want, all the money, all the economy, all the materialism, plus all the social power is equal to depression. Donald Trump, the manifestation of it. He's suffering from achievement deficit disorder. This is why he wants to become a president. Bill Gates is not, because he's doing spiritual things. He does. There's no doubt about it. But Baha'u'llah says, I'm not accepting it. Who's Baha'u'llah to say that? What is then a spirituality if it is not the actions of the Bill Gates? If his deed and his acts are criticized today by me, what is then the scientific background? The fact is this. Well, I last night said God, there is God exists, and I did also say that God has manifestations, prophets. It's a very logical projections of an intelligent being who has made the trees and this flower and this galaxies, and who has basically not just created our personality, but he's cloned himself in our form. Because we have willpower like just he has. Why wouldn't he want to help us more if he's gone that much? Why wouldn't he be suffering from loneliness? This is why there's manifestations. There's Jesus Christ to come to say to the people, this is not the way to go, Mr. Spartacus. This is not the way to go, Barabbas. You need to understand, go higher and see on the higher level, Roman, Jews are all names, we're all people. Can you extend your love, beyond this reference, beyond these limitations? And he changes the entire Roman culture. I challenge you, Mr. Gate, or any one of you, to explain the mechanism of Jesus Christ ideology, if you like to call it, or revelation, which he didn't care even to write it down, and all he says about 20 pages, would change the entire Roman culture. It's like today Iran come and changes the entire United States of America and they're following. What's the mechanism? There's no background, there's no point of evolution that we came to Jesus. Jesus suddenly just mutated right off with these ideas of one God and he just goes dies for it. Or explanation of Muhammad and a country where thousands of years people were Bedouins and they had no family, no city, nothing. All brigands. He comes in there and turns them to a civilization where you should, for all to know, if you don't know, go to Google's, that Muslims were completely the basis of what we know as the Western civilization. Even the camera obscura is called, camera obscura, go to Los Angeles, is made by the Ibn Haytham. Abbas ibn Farnas. He has it right in his book, the mechanism of flight. What makes it an object to fly in the air? 1 million book. They had library book, lending library book, mathematics, so many things. They're all brought by the civilization of Muhammad. There's no explanation of a guy, unlike Jesus, didn't die otherwise, enjoyed his life and everything ways. But yet 1 billion people are following him. They're down now, but they were not at the time of Crusaders. When they reached them, they found that these guys are profound. Muslim in Iran alone, they wrote 1 million books. Books that have to be read later on if we want to start our civilization, our spiritual civilizations. So there's no explanation for progress of the Islam by Muhammad and his attitude. His lifestyle just does not get us there, but in his case it does. Who are these people? Buddha. In China, he comes in India, a prince, Siddhartha was his name. He decided to help people and leave their kingdom. Go on a horse, go in the middle of the jungle, he says to a servant, go back home, I have to find an answer. He found the answer. The entire China and the world at that time changed. He brought balance, the message of balance. Chinese are still, and Japanese, they understand their manifestation of that balance system. That is spiritual, that's a spiritual power. So, when we look at the spiritual quality, such as kindness, giving, bravery, we think of these as emotion because we can't see it, it's not tangible. But my dear friend, truly they are quality. Let me be literal. In the next life, when you die, you can buy 2 kilos of kindness. Per se. It's something that you have to have it. You have to buy it. You have to get it. Baha'u'llah explaining this used one verse of the Quran. It says, فَسَيَجْزِيُهُمْ وَاسْبَهُمْ. I said to a priest, a father of the Church of Catholic in Jordan when I was in Israel, he was astounded. Muhammad says, what happens when you die? What's the heaven? The qualities that you have, those are spiritual qualities, that is your recompense. These qualities, such as kindness, is made by God alongside of this flower. Those qualities, if you want them, you have to buy them. You know, we work, it's physical. We make money, it's physical. We give it away. An act of kindness. When we gradually doing it, we become kind. We become a giver. We just like to give. So this is how material in the process changes into qualities, attributes. And if your qualities hits more than 50%, just like internet, your computer will subscribe to God, to some higher existence. I can't tell you about God. You're too small to understand that concept. But to a higher level of existence. Something that's in us. So Baha'u'llah, who's the inventor, the fashioner, the God, who is this manifestation of this entire planet, he says, out of kindness, not out of dictatorship. Baha'u'llah is not a dictator, he's a teacher. You have to listen to him in order to get what you want, not what he wants. He has a dictator too, but his dictator is you. He's telling you to dictate yourself, not to do the wrong things. Or to do what? It will get you those qualities. The spiritual understanding is that the entire life and existence that we have in these 70 years is nothing but a second matrix, where we are here to develop spiritual faculties, to go to the other side. Just as the first woman, our mother, we developed the faculties of hand, we have to have other faculties in order to exist on the other side after life. So this fashioners of the world, this very inventor, he says these are the way that you have to do in order to get the result. Simply giving but not knowing what the manufacturer says, they're not going to get anywhere. Bill Gates, you know, his Microsoft creates windows, and then he has a book. You tell him that I don't need your book and I don't need your way. I'll find my way myself. Imagine how many hours you have to play with the windows to get the maximum capacity of the window. Isn't it better show up to just go write his goddamn books so you can get things that you can get out of the inventor of this windows? The same way. Baha'i Faith today is that manual for us how to get those kindness, this and that and that. Otherwise, we're going on our own like Bill Gates does, not recognizing the source of the kindness. He just simply goes and says, oh, I'm going to give, giving. Not understanding, all your giving has one result: more population, less death. Then what? Do you have a management for this population surviving right now to actually get together and live together? Or if you can manage to do that as it's been done in Canada and the States and Australia and others, could you prevent them from this depression? Because now they got everything. You have none. The most worst part of this fact is this. I'm just telling you, you say that I want to study physics, but I don't believe in Einstein. Where are you going to get if you don't believe in Einstein's and his physics? I don't believe in Max Planck, Werner Heisenberg. They can go home. I want physics on my own. What are you trying to do? To go waste your time to understand what they did was right, or you want to continue from here? It is like that. We recognize Bill Gates. He gives because material is tangible. Do you understand? Baha'u'llah was another person, just like you and I right now, but he gave everything he had. Everything. And he was pretty wealthy. And those giving was not very easy for him either. He complains how they took this prayer of Imam Ali's handwriting, the prayer of Kumail. They stole it from him. They took it and sold it, confiscated it. His prayer beat and everything else. He's the son of the minister. He ends up by end of the day with a chain around his neck into the dungeon of Tehran around 1850s. Then they send him. Now this is material. Goodbye, gone. Now his social power. Everything is taken away. He's gone in jail now. Not by force. He was not condemned. They always left him the choice to do this. Okay, you're philanthropists and you're philanthropist lovers. Why don't you recognize Baha'u'llah? What the hell is wrong with you? What physics are you studying if you don't know there's Einstein? What philanthropist are you if you don't know Baha'u'llah? And the Baha'i Faith and myriads of others. So many Americans. Martha Ruth, if you don't know Martha Ruth from United States, who spent all her money, went all over the world to spread this message of unity. Who says Baha'u'llah is the one? Oh yeah, all the books are saying. Buddha calls him Amitabha. Native people call him Baha'ni, the people of Baha. Islam calls him Baha'u'llah. Jesus Christ says, I come with the glory of God, which means Baha'u'llah. The place where he comes is there. They said it is Iran in Bible. Jesus said, I come from the gate open in the east. I set my throne in Elam, from the Medes. It's all Iran. Islam says the same thing. Buddha says from the west, Holy Land. Amit Abha, means Baha'u'llah will come. So, now, why then again Baha'u'llah? This is one reason. Number two, the power of influence. Baha'u'llah says man and women are equal. They have equal powers, it's equal right. So all these colors, all these customs, all these nationalities, language, are all prejudices, we're all one. From 1844, the Baha'i Faith started. Right now there's 10 million people in the world from everywhere. The Jewish man becomes Baha'i sitting behind the Palestinian Baha'i. They have no problem. Muslims, Shia and Sunni, they become Baha'i, they have no problem. They don't fight again anymore. Irish and Catholic, the Catholic and the Protestants and others, native, there are Baha'is from all over. Baha'u'llah simply has that practical power to put people together. It is the transition where all the differences get there and then they get translated into one unity. Why don't we help this power? Why don't we recognize it? What kind of oblivion are we in? What is the reason of this giving? To hear thank you? Well, then that's your recompense. When you die, Mr. Gate, you say, I've done all of this thing. God says, yes. Do you want to know what happened by your giving? You don't want to know. A lot of bad things as well happened. This science that you call it is the giver. What giving? Giving what to us? As I told you, all what you are doing and what science has done has made the population bigger. As a result, more wars, more divorces, more problems. Because the equilibrium is lost. Before, we had no money, no democracy, but our wife listens to us, and the children will say, shut up, and life was going. We had no spiritual necessity for what we had. But you changed things, people like you. You brought all this material, we did a social, now the spiritual dimension is not there. There's no equilibrium. This society who needs God cannot content with the explanation of Bible or Quran or Book of Buddha or Gita. They're past. They need a new explanations. And don't call that myth. You're seriously wrong if you do. It's not myth. It's real. There is no one in the planet have gathered 20,000 people to die for him. For saying the man and women have the same right. To get rid of the prejudice. Look at the principles of the Baha'i Faith. One of his principles is that the religion and science is to go hand in hand. Something that you guys don't understand it. Religious people, they don't want to get along with the science. You scientists and scientocrat, you don't want to get along with the spiritual part. Whereas these two have to be united. Without unity, that's where we are. From 1844, mister, we took a left turn to the truth. Let's look. Who was our painters? Rembrandt, Raphael. Then we ended up with Salvador Dali and Picasso and Rango, all psychotic people. In the writers, we had Shakespeare and Dickens and Victor Hugo. Then we ended up with Kafka. We ended up with Frankenstein, Mary Shelley. We ended up with Bram Stoker, Dracula. And then on going to Batman, Superman. People are crying watching the movie of Superman for what he did, but when the guy doesn't exist. They're embedded, sunken, immersed in a fantasy world that does not exist, thanks to you, who think that he has to give without understanding. What about the management of this material? What about the balance in knowing to use, which means you have to tap on their spiritual desires. Like you do yourself, but you have no name for it. In the science. People like George Mandel, the father of genetics, he was what? A monk. Look at Louis Pasteur, he basically died just doing it for the love of science. Today, the scientists are looking to see what can sell the best. Be it heroin, be it anything. Anything that can sell and make money. There's no more interest in the science. The interest is how big can I get? Anybody have your money will give. The question that you will ask yourself when you die, why did I get all these monies? Couldn't I say windows are $2 so I don't need to be that rich? Leave the people to themselves? What is this pleasure of making money and then giving it? And then falsifies the truth, what we need. I told you, in everywhere we went, screwed up. Listen to Stephen Hawking. This man I really adore, just like you, I love you. Mr. Gates, but I zero approve of you. Your intelligence is lopsided, two-dimensional, you're a cartoon character, okay? You don't have the third dimensions. Mr. Stephen Hawking, so sad. He says, the reason we send all these messages to space and extraterrestrial beings are not taking the message or sending a response is because they advanced so much in science that their entire civilization collapsed and died out. Is this the end of science, according to him? This is the end of the scientific progress? Then why are you contributing to this science, Mr. Hawking? Just listen. Science, he says, takes us to exterminations, and yet is contributing to it. Then what is this? It is a new type of addiction, social addiction, like people like gambling and losing. You guys are meaninglessly just doing things without knowing what it is, what to do. So this is what, after Baha'i Faith came in 1844, alongside of all the scientists and philosophers. But they dismissed Baha'u'llah because he's a spiritual. He's not going to use advertisement. He cannot lie. He cannot use these machinations to get on the top. Actually, in the Baha'i Faith, you cannot ask them, Mr. Gates, you cannot go even to contribute to the Baha'i Fund. They won't accept it from you. Try it. Because we don't think money is what makes it to progress. That would be a social, basically, dimensions of this spiritual faith of Baha'u'llah. That's his disease, I said that. Do not make this a spiritual mission to become a social mission. Baha'u'llah hasn't come here to create your best governments and everything that you're thinking, social and material. Zero in that. He has come to give you that a spiritual power, what your reality is. Put the human in charge of his body, in charge of his animal self, vegetable self, material self, would be in charge of it. The byproduct of that will be a just society. The byproduct of that, it will be a spiritual, it will be economical, economic justice and material justice for the world. But he hasn't come here to solve material problem or social problem. We are very much capable of doing that. And he hasn't come to replace those things, to do something else. He doesn't want us to be religious, really. He wants us to reach to that understanding, to understand the third dimensions. That we, as a result of which, then we look at each other's and actually admire the differences. Then we say thanks that there are blonde people, that there are people with blue eyes, that there are people with these dark, beautiful Sudanese skins. Isn't it fantastic? I don't want that to go away. It's beauty. Look at Japanese faces. No. He says unity in diversity. Let it be diverse. This is like a beautiful garden. As a result of that spiritual understanding, then you don't go and look at, I have achieved all my money, and who is this guy called himself Elder Apastamori? I don't know how much have you done to make Microsoft, but I have been 24 hours. Ever I was 18 years in Iran when I became Baha'i, and then I came to Canada. 24 hours I'm on the case. Simply because I enjoy it. I'm not doing it as a duty. I'm not even doing it for Baha'u'llah. Just doing it for myself. But I understand he's out there. And I'm doing because I like him. He likes this to be done. So, this is not sucking up to you guys. I don't give an effing word to whoever you are, your money, your material, your things. It's just all baloney to me. But I love the Father of this universe, the grandfather of this universe. He likes us like his children so badly. With that immensity of the power, he comes in the material form and suffers the same fate as us. Because he just wants everyone to be getting there in the spiritual realm. They're born, but they are handicapped, they're sick and dying. He can't take it. He's coming here to do this. So I'm not out here for any social advance among you. I will not accept any meeting to talk to you. I'm not an actor or an orator or anything. I don't get money to do these things. The moment I get a penny for what I say and what I do, everything is become from a spiritual into social again, economical. These works that I do is for free. Free for you, but I get my own recompense, which is the spiritual power that I get. This unity, this oneness of us has to be understood. We're all pieces of jigsaw puzzles. If we're placed together, it will be humanity. There's a collective of all of us. If we get together, it becomes humanity. Humanity as a whole exists as a biological being. It isn't right now. You know, if Mr. Gate, Donald Trump can get elected in your country, which is a symptom of their spiritual sickness, you are responsible. And if you think that you have to let go of America, of Canada, of the Anglo-Saxons race, you are again wrong. These are the people who came first here, both socially and materially. They are 100% ready for their spiritual power. All the Canadians, there's 1 million Canadian Baha'is here. But they have to put together to a collective. I can't use your money. I need money to do that, but your money is no good. I can use your money if you come on the TV in here and say, confess to what I say what it is, in your own words, and become a Baha'i. I can accept a contribution. Without that, I cannot. Baha'u'llah says, you know, you can go build houses with it, you can go build hospitals and roads with it, but certainly you cannot use it for progressing my faith. Mine is a spiritual. Money that he asks from other people, to help, to do certain things, broadcast certain things, or go places, or help. It's a privilege is given to them. To give to God and to Baha'u'llah is a privilege, which you don't have, sorry. You're not a Baha'i. Which means you have not seen the greatest philanthropist of all, called Baha'u'llah, who gave all his material power at the peak of the wealth, and all what we cherish is freedom, accepted to go in the jails. And he, unlike Nelson Mandela, did not think that there is going to be a way that one day I'm going to get free. He knew this fate takes years and centuries before people to come. So his destiny would be going to jail and dying in it. But yet all the time, he, with the greatest balance that he had, he revealed what we need to do. And we don't recognize him. Who are we? What are we doing? I'm calling it giving. Giving what? Weapon to an arrogant, ignorant man to go kill his other colleagues? If this money of yours and other scientists who've done made the population so big, would you think the genocide in Rwanda would happen? If it is advancement, you call it science. If it was not there, you think the First World War would happen? Second World War would happen? And what other is coming? So what do? You're giving me a piece of bread in my mouth, and then you're slapping my face. And then giving me and slapping my face. It's like psychotism, this kind of a giving. You're hurting, but you're then saving. He says, okay, I have to entertain myself. What do? Beat the shit out of this guy. Injure him, make his hand broke, make his face defacing, beat the hell out of him. Then he says, oh my God, why did we do to him? Let's fix him now. Okay, bring the doctor, fix his hand, fix this. What would be a person who is doing this? Don't you think he's crazy? Well, then you're all crazy, Mr. Scientists and philanthropists, because that's what you're doing to mankind. You're beating him up, and then you go help him. I'm done with you, sir.